Dear children, what do you see in these pictures? Yes, you're right. They are called forts. Do you know where they are? Fort St. George is in Chennai. Senji Fort is in Senji of Villupuram district. Golconda Fort is seen in Hyderabad and Red Fort is located in Delhi. Some are named as castle and at times mentioned as citadel. Could you think why were such huge structures built in those days? They were built to safeguard the royal family. They were the symbol of nobility, power, and architectural wonder to stand for ages. They also served as a storehouse of armories and as domicile to avoid attacks. Do we build such strong forts these days? No, we don't, because the nature of warfare has changed entirely from that of those days. Today, we are going to look into the poem The Castle by Edwin Muir. Edwin Muir was a renowned Scottish poet, novelist, translator, and a critic. He was remembered for his vivid poetry. He began writing poetry at a relatively old age and over the course of several years worked out an individual philosophical style for which he gained recognition later in his life. First poem and Chorus of the Newly Dead contain Muir's initial attempts. His later collections include Variations on a Time Theme, The Narrow Place, The Voyager and Other Poems, The Labyrinth, and One Foot in Eden. The summary of the poem in nutshell. The castle tells the story of an unspecified battle. The speaker is one of the several men lodged in a seemingly impenetrable castle. They have plenty of arms and food. Their allies are nearby. The castle gates are strong and the walls are high, thick and smooth. Yet, these men are defeated when the enemy bribes one of their own, the warder, who lets the enemy soldiers through the little gate. All through the 6 stanzas, a constant AB, AAB rhyme scheme is employed. The narrator builds an atmosphere of confidence within the castle before the invasion. Readers are led to assume that the soldiers who were at the castle never suspected such a fall was possible. The cruel irony involves personal downfall within. The soldiers of the castle focused on the strength of their physical surroundings and what was beyond the castle. But betrayal from within caused the castle's fall. Children, now try to follow the poetic lines as you listen to it. All through the summer at ease we lay, and daily from the turret wall, we watched the mowers in the hay, and the enemy half a mile away, they seemed no threat to us at all. For what we thought had we to fear, with our arms and provender load on load, our towering battlements tier on tier, and friendly allies drawing near. On every leafy summer road, our gates were strong, our walls were thick, so smooth and high no man could win. A foothold there no clever trick could take us dead or quick. Only a bird could have gotten. What could they offer us for bait? Our captain was brave and we were true. There was a little private gate, a little wicked gate. A wizened warder led them through. Oh, then a maze of tunnel stone grew thin and treacherous as air. The cause was lost without a groan, the famous citadel overthrown, and all its secret galleries bare. How can this shameful tale be told? I will maintain until my death. We could do nothing being sold. Our only enemy was gold, and we had no arms to fight it with. Glossary. Turret, a small tower on the top of a castle. Mowers, people who trim grass and level the lawns. Provender, foot tier, one above the other. Friendly allies, supporting nation or armed forces. Foothold, position, quick ally. Bait, something intended to entice someone to do something. Wicket, evil or morally wrong. Wicket gate, a small gate. Weazen warder, an aged or old god. Maze, a winding, intricate, confusing path. Treacherous, disloyal. Groan, lament, cry. Citadel, a safe and strong fort. Overthrown, conquered or defeated. Maintain, believe. Children, let's now see the poem through the lines. All through that summer at ease we lay, and daily from the turret wall we watched the mowers in the hay. In these 3 lines, a soldier tells how he and his troop felt relaxed and watched at the everyday proceedings of the field. Here, mowers refer to the men who cut the hay. And the enemy half a mile away, they seem no threat to us at all. In these 2 lines, he says, though they were aware of the approaching enemy troops at a distance of half a mile, they were not a source of threat or fear to them. For what we thought had we to fear, with our arms and provender load on load. He confidently says that there is nothing to fear about the enemy, since they are loaded with sufficient supply of ammunition and food. Our towering battlements tier on tier, and friendly alley drawing near on every leafy summer road. The soldier is sure about the presence of his men on every layer of the tower, and the allied forces on their way to join them. The climate too was favorable for their timely reach. Our gates were strong, our walls were thick, so smooth and high no man could win a foothold there. These lines mean that the structure of the castle, with its strong gates and thick and smooth walls, was an added advantage. And no one could put a foot there to take them away, dead or alive. No clever trick could take us dead or quick, only a bird could have got it. These lines mean that no one could enter the castle but for a bird. There was a little private gate, a little wicket gate. A weazen warder led them through. Unfortunately, there was a small gate at the backside of the castle, which was guarded by a wrinkled old warden, who led the enemies through the gate. Or then our maze of tunnel stone grew thin and treacherous as air. Here the soldier laments that the intricate strong stone tunnel became unsafe. How can this shameful tale be told? I will maintain until my death. The soldier confides that he would never disclose this shameful act of defeat until his death. We could do nothing being sold, our only enemy was gold, and we had no arms to fight it with. The soldier confesses that there was nothing but for being sold out to the enemy named gold. According to the soldier, there is no ammunition to fight against the act of bribery or being corrupted by gold, which was their real enemy. To conclude, let me summarize everything once again for you. The Castle by Edwin Muir is a moving poem on the capture of a well guarded castle, the soldiers of the castle were totally stress free and relaxed. They were confident of their castle's physical strength. Through the turrets, they were able to watch the movers, and the enemy was not found up to a distance of half a kilometer, and so they seemed no threat to the castle. They had plenty of weapons to protect them and a large quantity of ration, which means supply of food, in the stock to take care of the well-being of the soldiers inside the castle. The soldiers stood on the tiers of the towers watching to shoot the enemy at sight. They believed that the castle was absolutely safe because their captain was brave and the soldiers were loyal. They were sure that even by a trick, no one could enter but for a bird. The enemy could not use a bait, which means a small insect or worm used on the tip of a fish line to catch a big fish. In short, throwing away something small to catch something big. Thus, they were sure that no bait could be used inside the castle. But there was a wicket gate guarded by a wicked guard. He let in the enemies inside the famous citadel that had been known for its secret gallery and intricate path. The strong castle became weak and thin because of the greedy, disloyal warder. The citadel was captured by the enemies for gold. The narrator lamented over the disloyalty of the warder and also decided not to disclose this shameful story to anyone. He was helpless and wondered how he could keep this truth to himself. He regretted for not finding any weapon to fight with the enemy called gold. Thus, the castle fell to its enemy in a crooked way. Let's see the various poetic techniques employed in this poem. When two or more words with same sound follow one after the other is called alliteration. Such a poetic technique is employed in the second paragraph, second line, and in the fourth paragraph, fourth and fifth line. You must be familiar of the figure of speech, metaphor and simile that are used on the first two lines of the fifth paragraph respectively. But the same two lines also employ a technique called contrast, which is called as a poetic contrast. The words stone and thin contrast each other by their nature of being strong and fragile. The sixth stanza, first line, employs interrogation as a figure of speech when the soldier puts a question. Another figure of speech, personification, is utilized on the fourth line of the same stanza, where gold is personified as human enemy. A paragraph on the poem. Can you call the castle as an allegorical poem? Yes, an allegorical poem is one which is metaphorical. The castle can be called an allegorical poem since there are various uses of symbols and metaphors. It also gives a message symbolically. The castle was strong with thick and high walls and strong gates. It was protected by soldiers who stood in many tiers above the other. An enemy half a mile away could be seen from the turret wall. There was a plenty of weapons and loads of food for the soldiers inside. So, outwardly, the environment was very encouraging for the castle to be a safe one. But the soldiers inside did not look within themselves. A betrayer among them set in the enemy for gold, and the castle fell to betrayal. Similarly, man's spirit is hyped by the success and pride outside. If he fails to see within, he will be destroyed by the enemies within like ego, jealousy, hatred, and anger. Thus, the poem symbolizes man's internal enemies, which are his vices. Though any line from the poem be asked in an appreciation question, there are few lines which are considered to be more important. For example, All through that summer at ease we lay, and daily from the turret wall we watched the mowers in the hay. Here the question, who does we refer to? We refers to the soldier inside the fort. How did the soldiers spend the summer days? The soldiers spent their summer days happily without fear. And the next important lines are, for then a maze of tunnel stone grew thin and treacherous as air. The castle was lost without a groan, the famous citadel overthrown. Bring out the contrast in the first two lines. The citadel had thick walls and tunnels like a maze. They turned thin like air due to betrayal. What happened to the castle? The castle was invaded by the enemies and it was lost to them without any resistance. Oh, then a maze of tunnel stone grew thin and treacherous as air. What is the maze referred here? The castle has tunnels like a maze to store weapons. Explain the second line. The castle became empty as the soldiers had fled. What does treacherous signify? Treacherous refers to the betrayal by the soldier inside who led the enemies in return for money. All the four iasses given in the description part are important and they convey the significance of the poem. Thank you, children.